All right, so where have I been? I was born in Florida, and then we moved to Bermuda, and then we moved to Virginia, and then we moved to New York, and then I moved to another spot in New York, and then I moved to Virginia, and then I moved back to New York, and then I moved back to Virginia, and then I moved to South Carolina, and then I moved to Florida, and then I moved back to South Carolina, and then I moved back to Virginia, and then I moved back to South Carolina. In between all this, I did go to a dude ranch in Texas. I have been to New Orleans. I've been to Savannah a whole bunch because I live close to there, and I've been all around Georgia. I've been to Pennsylvania. I've been to Connecticut, and Connecticut. That's where my uncle lives. So yeah, you name it. I am an East Coast child. I have lived everywhere up and down the East Coast. I have lived in snobby ass rich. Here's the deal. I've lived in rich neighborhoods where I was the only poor kid, and I have lived in poor neighborhoods where I was the only white kid. Well, not the only, but you get what I'm saying. I've never quite been in the majority of wherever I was living. There was always something. But that's life, man. People get so hung up on that shit. I never really had a problem. I had a problem once. I got jumped for being white. I walked down the wrong hallway in a new high school that I had just started. Apparently white kids weren't allowed to walk down the tech hallway, and I got jumped. So that was about it. But besides that, wasn't really an issue. Actually, I had more problems in the rich neighborhood being the only poor kid. It wasn't physical, but it was definitely a very subtle type of bullying. It was definitely taught me a lot of perspectives on life, on how different groups operate. So, yeah, so the reason my accent changes between Southern and Northern, the reason I have weird inflections while I'll say y'all and you guys. I'll say certain words with a really strong Northern accent and then certain words with a Southern accent. And that's just because I've been up and down the East Coast my entire life. And your accent changes when you live someplace for a long time. That's just what happens. So, and that's also how I can be such a priss at some points and be all dolled up and dressy and fancy, and I don't mind doing all the Northern Yankee stuff, and that's also why I have no problems throwing on a pair of jeans and a ball cap and grabbing fishing poles and going out into the woods and fishing and having fun. It doesn't really matter to me. Everywhere I've gone, that's all I've ever done. That's all I've ever convinced people to do. What do you want to do? Let's go grab a blanket and go to the beach and go hang out at the beach and, smoke a blunt and drink some wine coolers. Let's go hang out in the nature trails. Let's go, I've always lived close to a spot where I could get away. The Virginia Beach ocean front, we always had the ocean front. In New York, we had Blydenburg Park and the Greenbelt. In Virginia, that was still, but in the one neighborhood in Virginia, we had a park that was baseball fields, and there was just a park outside. That's all I ever did was just get people to hang outside with me. So, yeah. So that's where I've been. I've been everywhere as long as it's been on the East Coast. So I hope that explains a little bit of something to the handful of people that are actually following me. All right, guys. That's the last one I'm doing today. I'll talk to you later.